What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode, podcast, whatever. I don't know what this is, but I committed to do 20 episodes of Papi Rants. And today's topic is a topic that, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I mentioned it several times, and that is the fact that I do not believe that lazy people exist. I don't even think I think the word lazy is a lazy way to describe a person who doesn't prioritize something that you prioritize. And my best example for that is for me, let's say I intermittent fast almost 7 days a week, a minimum of 16 hours. Sometimes I like to push it to 20, 22-hour fasts. I feel good doing it. I feel great. I can't do it too often, but regardless of that, those are my things, and I love to do it. It's good for my health, and it's good for my mental focus. And on top of that, I live a very active lifestyle. I work out almost twice a day, 15 in the morning, 15, 20 in the evening. On the weekends, I'll still kind of do the same thing. And I get up at 5 a.m. to do that. And for me to say, if someone who doesn't do that, let's say someone that doesn't work out at all, for me to say, oh, clearly this person doesn't care about it enough. He must be, or she, lazy to not get up at 5 a.m., to do double days, to intermittent fast, watch what they eat. This person is lazy. And I don't think that is the right thing to say. I think that is basically a lazy way to describe something you prioritize. For example, for me, I prioritize my fitness and my health. Um, and for me to say that, to call someone lazy because they don't do that, is dismissive, and it's wrong. It's a wrong way to communicate to people, because I think the better way to say is why. I guess the better question is, ask why is it a not a high priority for you, for your health and your fitness. I think that's the best way to put it, rather than, oh, this person's probably lazy, or this is a lazy person. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I can get pretty freaking lazy. Um, and I guess the best term for lazy is just a lazy way to do something, like not doing something the right way, knowing you could very well do it. There's a difference between doing something fast and doing something lazy. I think when you have the time and the energy to do something correctly and you don't, that's lazy. But that's a task. Now we're not talking about like fitness or things or anything like that. I'm talking about a specific task that you need to do, like cooking eggs, for example. Do you scramble your eggs before you put them in the pan, or do you put the eggs in the pan then scramble in the pan? To me, I would consider that lazy to do it. It's just better when you scramble it out of the pan and then put it in. But a lot of people like to cut corners, so I guess that's really what it is. It's like cutting corners. But it's, I don't know. It's a weird thing. But let me just let's. I just want to really quickly, and we'll go back into just straight up just ranting about what lazy actually is, because it's a it's some uh, it's just something that I don't think should actually exist in the vernacular, because it doesn't really describe very much. And um, it's it's for the lack of better terms, a lazy way to describe somebody who lacks the priority in a certain task, right? So I want to talk about real quick where I kind of got this train of thought, and it has to do with gaming. So I'm not saying gamers are lazy. No, no one's saying that. But when something takes such a high priority that you're willing to risk your own life or the life of people you care about because of it, I think it's not being a lazy person. You're just prioritizing something more. Let's look at heroin addicts, or any type of addict. They always prioritize their addiction first before anything else. I don't think you could call a crackhead lazy, because a crackhead will rob, steal, and do sexual favors to get crack. I don't. I wouldn't consider that person like. I would consider that a high priority for that person, and then everything else is a very low priority. So this is where I kind of got my train of thought on this thinking, and it has to do with this article I read a long time ago. These are really old articles, and this is really really sad one. And this is girl starves to death while parents raise virtual child in online game. So basically, what happened is a couple they literally left their kid, and this heart breaks my heart. You know, it breaks my heart to see kids hurt. Um, it really does, especially straight up neglect. They prioritize gaming more than their own child. If you want to read this whole article, it goes the 41-year-old man, 25-year-old woman who met through a chat website reportedly left their infant unattended while they went to the internet cafes. They only occasionally dropped to buy to feed her powdered milk. I am sorry for what I did. I hope my daughter does not suffer anymore in heaven. If you don't get really angry at this, you might not be a decent person. This husband quoted saying in his associate websites, "This is I don't care. This is just a prime example of priority." And you've heard my backstory already. My father prioritizes other families over the family he started with my mother. So it's like a thing, a priority. And they prioritize video games over their own child, which is deplorable. I'm a firm believer of responsibilities. I don't think being a father, being a mother is a job. It's a responsibility, just like it's a responsibility to take care of yourself. So to lack responsibility and priority and something so crucial, you're a piece of shit. I'm sorry, you're a piece of shit, and you need to reprioritize your life because where you're going down, if you're neglecting the people that matter the most, where you're going down is a dark place, and it might be really hard to get out of it. I'm not saying it is impossible. I'm just saying it's going to be difficult. Reassess your life, prioritize what's meaningful. But going down in the same rabbit hole of gaming, this one is the one that actually really got me going. It's this guy named Siu Lung, was this Lee Swung Soup, and they're all South Koreans, right? The ones that are doing all this crazy stuff. They're just so dedicated to their gaming, and this was the one that had me going the most. And let's get it straight. This man probably had pre-existing conditions. Obviously, if he was this addicted to playing video games, he must have not taken care of himself whatsoever. But if we read right here, Lee was rushed to the nearby hospital where it was concluded that the cause of death was a heart failure included by exhaustion and dehydration. So I don't think I've been opened up. This guy died because he couldn't take care of his basic functions, meaning he prioritized playing StarCraft, which is an amazing game. I probably have 1,000 hours in StarCraft. I'm not good, but he's probably better than me because he dedicated his life on it. Literally dedicated his life on this game. Um, he didn't prioritize drinking water and sleeping. He pushed through so hard, he died. And like I said, he probably had pre existing conditions. I'm sure he was probably a smoker or whatever and all this stuff. But the thing is, it is your basic human function. I mean, your reptile brain wants you to drink water, that parchness in your throat. But he pushed through that so hard. He prioritized playing StarCraft more than his own basic needs. And it ultimately left him dead. And me, I, I don't think that I can call this guy lazy. I really don't feel like it's possible to call this man lazy. He just prioritized video games, StarCraft in particular, more than his own freaking life. And when you think about the word lazy and you take priorities in that context, you want to reevaluate these things, right? What is the most important thing to you? And then you structure your priorities around that, right? Like for example, me, my first priority is taking care of myself over my family. Always take care of myself first. Always. Physically and mentally. There are cases where I have to put myself in second place. Obviously, real men will are more than willing to let their woman lay on the ground so their woman or the people they care about can step over the puddle on top of their bodies, because sometimes that's what real men do. We bite our tongue and we push, but not all the time. You have to learn to communicate and to share your feelings, but there are times where you need to shut the fuck up. That's it, and just do it. And figuring out when to and when not to do that is the hardest, one of the hardest parts of life. So, prioritize myself, then my wife is first and second at the same time, but for the most part, she's in second place because I gotta. If I can't take care of myself, then I can't take care of her. I gotta be at my tip top shape because the stronger I am, the stronger I am for her. So keep that in mind. Then my children, and then my family, and then my friends. That's my priority list. And then what I need to do to fix to keep those things running tip top, go up on scales right now. So, like, obviously health, fitness, sleep. Sleep's huge, important. This guy died. He didn't have enough sleep. Didn't have enough water. Stay hydrated. Things like that. So what I mean to say, this whole ranting right now, is the next time you call someone lazy, really think about how you're using the word lazy, and think if it's something that you prioritize and that person prioritizes, because if it's something that you prioritize, and that person doesn't prioritize, you're having a very unconstructive discussion about it, meaning you're probably just being dismissive and belittling that person. Because I think if, for example, let's say your significant other doesn't wash the dishes, right? They don't prioritize washing the dishes, right? Because it's not like it's not a high thing on their list. They'll like to stack it up, and I know there's probably a lot of you watching that do that, stack it up, and probably a lot of you who are the ones to wash the dishes because you don't like it stack up. You prioritize it, not stacked up. And rather than calling them lazy, about not washing dishes regularly, maybe you should have a more constructive discussion about it. And rather than telling them they're lazy for not washing the dishes, tell them is like, how come you don't prioritize washing the dishes as much as I do? Do you not like a clean sink? Is it okay for you? Do you like to let them stack up? Like, really ask them questions and really pick apart their decisioning behind it, because I'll tell you what, most people do not like to see it stack up. It probably gives them lightweight anxiety. And worst part is, if you need a utensil or a cup and there is not one available, that sucks. Then you gotta wash one, next thing you got a whole thing. No one likes that. No one likes to live in chaos like that. They it gives them anxiety, and then they look away from it, and it doesn't give them anxiety anymore, but it's always behind your head. But I'm getting out of the topic. Maybe you should structure it that way. That's how I talk to my wife about a lot of things that I like preferred done in the house. For example, I asked her, why is this sink running when you're soaping up dishes? Because you're not rinsing anything, so the sink needs to be off. And I said, hey, babe, like, I just restructured it a little bit. And it's like, hey, babe, actually, this is a bad example because this is me telling her what to do and not prioritizing. So let's just backtrack from that. But like, for example, oh yeah, here's a good one. Here's a good one. It's like, keeping the floors mopped, and my wife does not want to mop the floors. Now she does mop the floors, and it's because I explained to her. I was like, the reason why I like the floors mopped is because I'd hate the sticky feeling. I know that the dogs lay, and we have a lot of pets. We have two dogs and a cat, and I know that all the animals, they run around side. Sometimes they step on their own shit, and they step all over the house. The floor is not clean by no means. By no means. We don't wear our shoes in the house either, but still, it's no clean by no means. And they drool all over the ground. And we have a dog that has she's super hairy, so every time she drinks water, it drips water all over the place. So I told her this is why it's a priority for me, why I mop every week, is because of the dogs are disgusting. They're disgusting animals. I mop and I vacuum almost daily, because of our animals. And she understood that. She was like, "That's a good priority. The floor is a little sticky. Oh, that's not that. It's not that hard, like to mop the floor every once in a while." And now she'll randomly mop the floor here and there. It's just another way to talk about it. Rather than coming at a person, "Why are you so lazy? Why don't you mop the floor?" is a really bad way to have a discussion. So when we're talking about the word lazy, um, I think every person should just delete that word. It's hard to not say it. And if you're referring it to someone like your significant other, a friend, family, brother, child, really ask them and let them know why you prioritize it, and see if they could maybe somehow find um, any parallels with your prioritization of the topic at hand, whether it's washing dishes, mopping the floors, or fitness. Like really ask people why it's not top of their list. Like, is your health not important? Is that not important? Keeping a clean house, is that not important to you? Like, do you like to be in a mess? Like no one likes to be in a mess. And if anyone says I like to live in a mess, they're freaking lying. It's a lie. That's a straight up lie. But yeah, that's me ranting about the word lazy and how it doesn't really exist. And it's uh in closing, it is a word that is dismissive to the person you're saying it to, because it really doesn't ask or describe the situation very well. Like asking, like, why is this person not doing this thing, and describing why they are doing what they're doing. It's like it's poor. It's a very poor descriptive word, and you're not gonna get a lot out of it, and you're only gonna ruin relationships by using it. So don't use it. Don't use it. So there we go. Episode 2, Papi Rants. Guys, if you like this type of content, go ahead, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We are still going to do some of the other stuff. Maybe we should do our own YouTube channel for this. I don't know. I got too much on my plate, and I just want to say thank you if you made it through the whole video. Thanks for watching.